Hey guys, my name is Lily and today I want to show you my prepper's garden. Stay tuned. Alright, so I'm living in suburbia, so I only have a very small house with a pretty small garden. And 3 years ago, when we bought the house, this here, the backyard, was only gravel and nothing else. And then I slowly converted it into a vegetables garden. Okay, so here at the side we have planted some strawberries in planters. So I have gotten some very big containers. The strawberries did not do so well this year because this year in the beginning, in the springtime, it was too cold and too wet, and then we got a heat wave and drought, so I only had strawberries for 3 weeks, which was really bad. Then here at this side we have some blueberries, and they also did not do so well this year for the same reasons like the strawberries. So we only had a very small yield, and 3 plants died this year because of the extreme weather events, so that really sucked. So I hope that next year they are going to do much better. Okay, then here I have made another raised bed, and we have planted more blueberries into here because I really love blueberries. And the thing that I'm doing with my blueberries to keep them healthy is I'm adding needles that I'm collecting from the forest and put those needles as mulch on the soil, and those needles will release acidity with the time, and this acidity will go into the soil with the rain, and that's one way I keep my blueberries sour. So pretty important, otherwise the acidity will go away because the rain washes out the acidity and then your blueberries will die. Alright, and here we have our raised beds, and in this first raised beds I have planted some tomatoes and they are doing really good. So the production is really awesome. Here you can see some really nice tomatoes, and I'm heavily pruning my tomatoes, so I'm ripping out the suckers, and also I'm cutting off the leaves at the very bottom so that the tomatoes get more sun and get ripe faster. And yeah, also here I have installed this composting system. It's basically a container where I've cut some holes into it with an angle grinder, and in here we just put our kitchen scraps, and inside of the can here there are some compost worms which are turning the compost into very fertile soil, and that's exactly what the tomatoes need. Because tomatoes need a lot of nutrition. And in the previous years I always had a compost pile, but it was so much work turning over the compost pile. So then I changed to this direct composting system, which is just so easy. It doesn't smell, it doesn't stink. You just throw in your scraps, you close the lid, and then you will have new compost in a couple of weeks. Okay, then here in the front I have more strawberries in buckets. Yeah, and at the back side here we have some raspberries as well, which is nice. Okay, here at the side I've already prepared some lettuce plants because I want to plant them inside of the greenhouse and in the raised beds after the tomatoes are gone. So these are for winter time, and they're actually pretty hardy, so you can have them underneath a sheet, a plastic sheet, even when there is snow outside, and they should survive temperatures down to maybe -5 in the night. If it's getting colder, you need some kind of maybe a heated greenhouse or more plastic sheets, but having lettuce in winter time is possible, and we love lettuce, and that's why we planted it. Okay, then here we have the second raised bed, which is full with tomato plants. Here I have different varieties. The variety that works best for me is Hellfrucht, which is this tomato. It's very robust against any kind of diseases. Also, it can take a little bit of cold. So I really love this variety, which is called Hellfrucht. Great, awesome. If you can get it, then I would definitely recommend that you plant it. The next tomato that I'm growing is this here, which is called Moneymaker. It's a really nice tomato too. It makes a little bit bigger fruit than the Hellfrucht, but there's not really a difference, so it's pretty robust. You can grow it outside, no problem, just like the Hellfrucht. It's pretty similar actually to the other variety. Yeah, so in future I'm going to grow these 2 varieties. The ones that I don't grow anymore are these 2. This here is the tomato Torria. It's a nice tomato. It looks like a bottle. But what I experienced is that first of all, they don't get red so easily, so they need a long time to get red. And also, there's a lot of meat inside of this tomato, and it doesn't taste so good as the other round tomatoes. So I probably not am going to grow this again, but it's not a bad tomato per se. So if you want to have a tomato which has a lot of meat, then you can grow this tomato, it's no problem. My space is limited, so if you have unlimited space you can experiment with this variety, but I don't have that, and I try to maximize my yield because we only have a few raised beds. Then what we have here is this tomato. It's not easy to see, but it's making a very small bottle-shaped tomatoes. So this tomato here is called Roma, and I'm not happy with it at all. It's very susceptible to blossom end rot, and I planted it in the same soil like the other tomatoes. The other tomatoes don't have blossom end rot. This is the only variety that has it, so it's very susceptible to it. I think I only harvested one tomato so far which didn't have blossom end rot. Also, this is more like a shrubby plant, so it's not growing upwards too much, and it's making a lot of leaves. And when I tried to prune this plant, it did not react very well. So the harvest is low and blossom end rot is very high. I will definitely not grow the Roma tomato anymore. And first I thought that it's because I planted it outside, and in the description of the seed package it was saying that it should be planted in a glass house or greenhouse, which I have done, and inside of the greenhouse it's also not looking better. So I don't know. I think it's an Italian variety. Maybe it's better suited for Italy, but here in Austria, or at least in my garden, it's not doing so great. So I definitely will not grow this variety anymore. Okay, here at the backside we have some raspberries growing, and these two shrubs are doing really good, but this one here is dying, and I think it was too dry at one time, so I should have watered this plant more. And I've never seen a raspberry dying, so we had a really severe drought. Okay, then here in this raised bed we have some cabbage. This is some horseradish that I planted. Here we have carrots, all kinds, yellow ones, purple ones, and orange ones. And here we have another raised bed which is almost empty because I've harvested all of the veggies. Here we have something very interesting, which is called earth almond. It's also called tiger nut, but it's not really a nut, it's a tube, and it has a nut-like taste. Let's take a look. So if you pull out the grass, you will end up with small nut-like tubes, and these are very nutritious and it tastes really, really good. I think it's originally from Africa, and it's also susceptible to cold, so you can only grow this in summer, starting from May until maybe October. The tiger nut is white at the inside, and it tastes really good, and it's very nutritious. Perfect prepping food. Here at the side I have installed a bee hotel, and if you take a closer look you can see that some of the holes are occupied. So the closed ones are the ones where some bees have laid their eggs into it, and this kind of bee hotel is for wild bees only. Now if you want to build something like this, you want to make sure that you have different size of holes, starting from 5 millimeters, 6, 7, 8 and also 10 millimeters, because some bee species are bigger than others and some are really tiny, and this is why you want to have different sizes of holes. Okay, then now let's take a look into the greenhouse. Okay, here at the left side I have planted some peppers. These are the ones that I have planted myself, so these three. And then, because it was really cold in springtime, I also bought peppers from the store. But actually my peppers are doing much better than the ones from the store, So here you can see that they have a lot of fruit and some of them are turning red already. And the other peppers here are not doing so well. So here are the 3 store-bought ones, and this is the first one that I harvested from these 3 now. And from the other ones I already harvested 3 big red peppers. Yeah, so I think I'm going to stay with this variety, which makes long red fruit. Really nice and tasty. Then here at the back side you can see all of the 4 tomato species that I grew this year. So at the corner here we have the Roma plant, which is doing really badly. This here is the Torria. Here we have the moneymaker. You can see it's making really nice red fruit. And here at this side we have Hellfrucht again. Then in this raised bed I have planted some new radishes. This is for wintertime already. So by wintertime these radishes should grow big, and then we can eat radishes all winter, which is really nice. And here I have a little bit of a water reservoir, because I want to make sure that insects inside of the greenhouse have access to water. Okay, the next in here we have some radishes. Really nice ones. They are purplish. So pretty cool. I have planted some seeds into this raised bed here, which is the same exact radish like this one. So this is young now and it will grow big until winter time, and then we will have this size of radishes in winter time to eat, which is really awesome. Alright guys, so this is my prepping garden and it's really limited in size, so we don't have a lot of space to grow food and vegetables, and that's why we stick with the things which are expensive in the store, like tomatoes and lettuces. And we don't really grow onions anymore or potatoes, because you need so much, you know, space for them, and I don't have the space. So I'd rather grow 1 more tomato plant than having, I don't know, 5 potatoes or 5 onions. And yeah, onions are really cheap. You can buy them in big bulks and they don't cost you anything. Same with potatoes, but tomatoes are very expensive, lettuce is very expensive, blueberries are very expensive, and this is why we mostly grow tomatoes and lettuces and some other, you know, vegetables as well, if we have the space. In the previous years I grew vegetables that we didn't really like. I just grew them just for trying out, which was an interesting experience. But I decided that now I just keep it to 10 vegetables and fruits, and we don't need more than this. So we still have to buy onions, we still have to buy potatoes. Some preppers might say, yeah, you really should grow potatoes, which is correct. And if I had a bigger garden, I would do that, but I don't have a bigger garden. And the space is really limited. I think it's still a very good garden for a suburban house, but yeah, unfortunately I don't have a field at my disposal. Alright guys, so this was my prepping garden and I really love it. I like gardening. It's a really nice hobby for me. And yes, it's taking a lot of time. You have to do the weeding. I do it by hand because I'm not using any poison. I don't spray my garden, so I have an organic garden. I also do have a gardening channel on YouTube where I occasionally make videos about my garden if you're interested in learning gardening. So if you want to subscribe to that channel, I will link the channel in the description below. Thank you for watching guys, and stay tuned till next time.